Hello friends, followers and fellow flight simmers. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator and another video with the Boeing 247D. Awesome aircraft. I am enjoying it so far. Looks great and has a lot of unique functions and simulation which is great to experience. Engine management is a little bit challenging. I have to admit I have twice lost my engines up in the air, and in one of them my left engine caught on fire. But I'm learning, so all is good. After the review video, as I discussed with you guys or asked you or told you guys that I will record a video about the radio range navigation. Yeah, so that's what we will be doing today. I'll try to explain the theory behind radio range navigation, and we'll take a look at what I mean by that while we are on the ground using that little add-on that everybody knows who used to, if you are a seasoned flight simulator, I'm pretty sure you know about little Navmap, and we will take a look at little Navmap and take it from there. Be easy place. We are at Teterboro in New York, and very busy airport, a lot of activity around us, so planes landing, departing, whatnot. But we will discuss the theory or theoretical information of radio range navigation to explain things a little bit, and then we will start our engines and take off and see it in action or practice what we have seen in the theoretical lesson, if you will. So let's jump into the cockpit. It's a little bit loud, and I want to start here and explain things a little bit before I bring up the little Navmap window. So the radio range navigation. Think about this as a radio beacon which has antennas opposite from each other, and these antennas transmit either a letter A in Morse code or letter N. And when these overlap, it becomes a perfect solid tone. You don't hear a Morse code like dot dash or dash dot. It becomes a solid tone. And when it becomes a solid tone, that means you are on course to this radio station. Okay, so that's the basics. So now you might ask, okay, but from which heading? What's the bearing to this station? What heading I should fly? That's a little bit later in the discussion. We will talk. But yes, you have to fly a certain heading to fly the beam, so to speak. That's what they call this. But just wanted to cover this a little bit. So if you are in the middle, you will hear a solid tone. If you are to the right, you will hear an A. Or if you are right to the right of the beam coming from east, you will hear an A. If you are coming from south, you will hear, if you are to the right, you will hear an N. And if you are to the left, you will hear an A. And it changes because this has 4 quadrants. So if you are coming from west to east, then on the right you will hear an A, on the left you will hear an N. Which means if you are hearing an N, you need to turn right to intercept the beam. If you are hearing an A, you need to turn left to intercept the beam. If you are coming from north to south, then on the left you will hear an A, on the right you will hear an N. If you are coming from east to west, on the right you will hear an A, on the left you will hear an N. So as you see, it changes a little bit based on west to east or north to south. This is pretty much same because you hear an N on the right if you are coming from west to north to south or south to north, and from east to west, west to east, it's A and A on the right and on the left. So it's a little bit different, but same from east west and north south. I hope I didn't mix things up a little bit and confused you, but let me bring the little Navmap window and we will. Right, here is the little Navmap window, and this aircraft comes with two files that you can import into little Navmap. One of them is the radio stations for radio range navigation, and the other one, by the way, they show up in the little Navmap like these Takeoff stations, but these are just the radio range navigation user waypoints. They are added as user waypoints to little Navmap. And then the other one is the blue flags that you see here, which are the music stations. So it's WGBS, and that's the frequency. So if we tune to 600, we will listen to this radio and what it is playing. So we are currently at over here, Teterboro, and we should be able to listen New York. So anyway, radio range navigation. So when you load these user waypoints, you'll get the information for these stations. Let me get rid of that. So the first one we have in our flight plan, I already plotted the route, and this route is pretty much on par or the same route that the aircraft has in its documentation. It has a radio navigation tutorial, and this is that same flight plan in that tutorial with slight adjustments, but yeah. So this is the station that we were talking about. This is our first one that we will try to track after takeoff from Teterboro, okay? And we need to know a couple things to be able to track this station. One, the frequency. So that is the first number next to the station's name in little Navmap. 341 is the frequency. And then the other four numbers that follows the frequency are the headings from different directions. What I mean by that is, if I put the rows here to explain that a little bit, the compass rows right there, let's take a look at this. So first one is 47, right? So that's 45, that's 47. So if I'm coming to this station from this direction, I need to fly heading 47, and I will be flying perfectly fine in the middle and hearing a solid tone. The next one, 98, so 108, 198 is like this. So if I'm coming to this station from here, my heading should be 98, and I will be hearing a solid tone. 227 is right here, so that is from here, which we will be traveling. So if I'm coming from this direction, my heading needs to be 227, and these are true headings, by the way, not magnetic. I will be flying the beam. 306, that's roughly here. So if I'm coming from the seaside, I need to be flying 306 to have a solid tone and reach the radio range navigation station. Okay, so that's how you find this information here. So for our case, we will be coming from here, and as you see, I have also added the magnetic and true headings. So we will fly the runway heading to this, and this waypoint is here because that's getting us to close to 227 true and 235 magnetic heading. So we can make this 227, I believe, if we play a little bit more. It's there. But this is good enough. So what we will do is we will fly runway heading until we hear a solid tone. Remember, 227. if we are at that, if we start to hear the solid tone, that means we need to turn to heading 227 to stay on the beam perfectly. It will make more sense when we get up in the air. And then when we are overhead, we will not hear anything, so the radio will go silent. We will keep going the same heading, follow the heading, and this time we will tune the next one, which is this XA, frequency 320, and the headings are 50, 100, 230, and 280. And for us, it's going to be 280 true and 292 magnetic heading. And when we hear a solid tone, we'll turn to 280, and that will we will maintain until we reach to this station. It will all make sense, as I said, when we get up in the air. So to do that, I need to start the engines and get everything ready, and I will bring you guys back when we have the engines running. See you in a little bit. Right, friends, welcome back. It is super loud, so I'm going to jump into the cockpit. Alright, we are ready to take off, but I'd like to discuss one more thing before we do so. Oh, the radio. So this needs to be on, and there's an avionics switch here. You need to turn this on. That's the master avionics switch. Go to the up, turn the power on, and CW to on. And you will start hearing, because I already tuned 341. That's the frequency, if you remember. This is how you change the bands. It goes between different kilohertz ranges, which was called kilocycles at the time. And then, yeah, and this is what you use to tune to that frequency. We are hearing a dash and a dot right now, which is the letter N, and everything will start making more sense when we take off. So let's turn on our landing lights. Engines are looking good, and we will increase the power and take off. And by the way, let me silence this for now until we take off, and we will take a look at it. Takeoff power set. To maintain the center line is super challenging if you have crosswinds in this aircraft. So I'm all over the place, as you see, but we are getting up to the takeoff speed. So, oh man, not an easy takeoff. Anyway, let's just lift her off the ground. And one thing I didn't do prior to takeoff is to set my directional gyro. I will do that now. So my heading is showing 190, and this needs to be 190, such as that. Alright, so what we are going to do, we will fly the heading, we will climb and set the manifold pressure and the RPM for climb very quickly. Alright, and the turn coordinator is our best friend to maintain level flight and the same heading. And we are looking for a solid tone, so we'll turn on the radio. Let's reduce the volume a little bit. And now you are hearing a dash dot constantly. And as we go like this and start climbing up and getting closer to the beacon, the tone will move into a solid tone. So that's when we are going to turn to heading 227. Okay. As you hear, it's changing slowly. Listen to that. It's becoming solid, but I still hear the N in the tone. Now it's getting very close to being a solid tone. I'm gonna start turning slowly to 227 to see if I can maintain a solid tone and intercept the heading that I need to fly. You see, it's pretty solid right now. Yep. Okay. Now back to solid. And I am flying to 4, so a little bit overshot, I guess. Actually 227 is close to 230. Yeah, we are hearing a solid tone, so we will fly this heading, and if we start losing the solid tone, we will make an adjustment, whether it's a right left turn, and try to recapture. But this is pretty much a good solid tone to me, so which tells me that I am traveling towards that radio station. And now I lost it a little bit. Okay. It's again solid. Yeah. Hearing a little bit different tone in between, so which tells me that I'm not super centered on that beam, but very close, because that solid tone gets interrupted every once in a while. So, and I'm going to try to maintain that heading 227. Okay. That should give me a solid tone, so that's 230. That's close to 227. And what I'm hearing now. Not too bad. Not too bad. Maintain the heading. I am keeping an eye on my engine instruments and my turn coordinator and my attitude indicator to maintain a level flight. Now I think it's a good time to change fuel tanks, as it's been a while since we take off. You have to remember that. Okay. Now I was hearing a dot dash. Okay. So dot dash means I am on the right side, left side, and need to make a right turn if I'm coming from that heading. Remember the quadrant we have here. I'm hearing this and I'm coming from here, so I need to go right to intercept, because I am traveling from north to south. And I'm hearing an A, so that means I need to move right a little bit to make the tone solid. is it's close to solid again, so I will fly like this, and it should get us where we need to go. You don't need to be super accurate. You need to be close, and then you will hear the tone. And what you can do also is just check your frequency and make sure it's tuned correctly. I did something. Uh-oh. Did we lost the radio? I'm now hearing something. Okay. Alright, we didn't lose the radio. We passed over that station, that's why we lost the radio. Remember, it went silent. So now what we need to do is to tune our next one and maintain the same heading. Our next radio station's frequency is 320, so we need to tune to 320. There it is. And we need to follow the same heading until we hear a solid tone. And when we do so, we are going to turn to heading 280. To maintain 227. Looking good. We are hearing a dot dash. Okay, so let's bring this up. So dot dash this, and we will be traveling heading 280 towards west. Okay, so that means I am here hearing a dot dash, so which means I need to get a little bit down to see if I'm going to get a solid tone at some point. Not at that dot dash or dash dot if I pass further away from the station. So when this becomes solid, I need to turn to heading 280 because I'm coming down here and I'm trying to go this way. Okay. It is a little bit frustrating at the beginning, but when you do this couple times and fly it for yourself, especially that tutorial lesson that came with the aircraft, everything will start to make more sense. I was also trying to figure this out, but wasn't able to because of those headings, 4 headings listed next to the radio station. I wasn't aware about those. Alright, let's see if we can get this tone to become solid. That is going to be our signal to turn 280. Still dot dash, so still hearing an A. Something is changing now. I started to get a solid tone. Looks like I'm getting close. Getting close because I am hearing a very slight dash dot in the background. Dot dash is still dominant. It's the dominant tone, but I started to hear the other one too, and it started to become sort of a solid tone. Little bit. Okay. That tone is pretty solid to me. I should start turning to heading 280 slowly to see if I can intercept better and make it a solid tone. Okay. Still hearing the dot dash, but it's less dominant now, or less powerful. It's mixing into the solid tone with the other one I'm hearing very faintly. Okay, so that's the ident. Now this is a pretty solid tone to me. I should start turning to heading 280. There we go, yeah. It's solid now, I can tell. A bit over 280. This is 280. And yes, that's a solid tone. Pretty solid tone to me, with a slight dot dash in the background, but this is very close, so I will keep this heading, flying towards that radio station. Yep. Alright guys, so this is pretty much how you do the radio range navigation. Okay, I tried to make it simple and easy to understand. Maybe I was successful, maybe I was not. So let me know in the comments how your experience was with radio range navigation, and I will be seeing you in the next video.